in terms of business and stuff, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. Now, this has been absolutely butchered and said over again 1,000 times, and it's been shoved in people's faces and down their throats and up their noses, through their ears, and it's just becoming a cliche at this point. You should only compare yourself to yourself, but it's true because the thing is, other people, when you compare yourself to other people, you're comparing yourself to an entirely separate, different circumstances, and that circumstances are aroused from entirely different causes, and the causes, if applied to you in the same way, you were in that person's position, you had that person's mind, their predispositions, their cultural influences, their tendencies, their behavioral patterns, even their issues, you would have ended up exactly like them, and vice versa if they were in your shoes. And that's because we really have less control than we would like to think, because every single one of our actions is influenced by an external reaction. Because since the dawn of time, people have operated solely out of what their emotions have deemed to be the most profitable action at the time. So someone might start a business because they're mad at something about themselves and they want to change something, but the reason that thing about themselves was there in the first place was because something else caused it that was completely out of their control. So it's just a good guide of thought when you're thinking of, well, why did that person think of doing that thing first? It's because something influenced them to first. And shame, it might be a shame for you. You simply weren't as lucky on the draw and you didn't catch on as quickly. And it's becoming a bit of a problem these days. For me, even, because I just see these guys who are younger than me, yet they're making 100 grand a year, and I don't like it. I want to be better than them, but at the moment they're making more than me and I'm making nothing. But I shouldn't compare myself to them, because if I was in their shoes, I would have done the exact same thing as them. And heck, if my current self had their advantages now, I would be destroying them in like every aspect of life. But the thing is, my circumstances are not where theirs are. Hence, why my willpower is so unbelievably strong, and why I know I'm never going to quit. Why I'm never going to stop trying to succeed, even if it doesn't go work out for me, because I'm just that kind of obsessive compulsive person. It might be extremely detrimental to my well-being and my sense of pleasure, and it might cause me misery all the time, but it's who I am and it belongs to me. I have a fire inside me that won't let me quit, and I'm not trying to sound like Conor McGregor or some macho weirdo that has just saying that, but it's the truth. Like, my circumstances in life have been so much more unenabled, or well, don't want to say disabled, but like unenabled, that my will just adapted to that situation. And if anyone else was in my shoes, their will would have adapted in the same way. And well, if anyone had my brain and they were in my shoes and they were born at the exact time, they had my life basically, they would have adapted in the same way. That's why you should focus not on comparing yourself to others, but you should compare yourself to yourself. And again, cliche thrown around the place the whole time, because people spout it all the time, shoving it in your face again, without actually knowing what it means themselves. They heard it from somewhere and then they regurgitate it like monkey see, monkey do, kind of wise quotes and phrases that make them sound smart, but then they don't actually know how to explain them when you ask them why that is. So let me explain it now. The reason you should compare yourself to yourself is because you can see your past self and whether you've made progress or not. So this can be good if you're in a negative situation as well, because if your past self was doing better than your current self, then you know that you've been doing something wrong. And in terms of my quality and enjoyment of life, it's went lower than I could have ever imagined it, which I take responsibility for. It's kind of a given, because I'm doing a bunch of cold calls every week and I'm doing sales calls every week, and I'm trying to get people onboarded, and I'm utterly failing at pretty much everything I'm trying to do. Also because it's the month of August, which happens to be the busiest freaking month of the year for my niche, which is it's pretty funny, but it's also it's it will be quite disheartening to most people because they're in my particular situation. I'm just starting out, so this would be kind of funny if I started this niche in May, but I didn't start it until a couple of weeks ago, right before August began, and August, of course, busiest month of the year. So that was just kind of crap luck on my part, and even crappier luck. I have college next week or next month, and I suppose it's not luck, but it's again cause and effect, and it didn't really I it didn't work out in my favor. Now I'm not saying that I blame external circumstances or anything. I'm just saying that I have to try as hard as I can, and it may still not work out because it just life gets in the way. I might not have enough time to do things when I'm in college, but what I do know is I'm going to be using that Facebook automation software. I'm just really looking forward to using it, and I'm I'm just adapting in every way I possibly can. But this video isn't about Facebook automation or why people don't use that over cold calling, which I'm so confused about. It's about comparing yourself to yourself. I compare myself to myself in May quite a bit of the time these days because it was 3 months ago, right? So May was the beginning of summer. I was fresh out of college for the summer, and I basically had a whole 4 months ahead of me to do nothing but work. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really looking forward to the summer because of that, because I knew it would just be I would put myself through pure pain. I I was set to increase the amount of work I did in terms of time period by about half an hour every 10 days, or was it was 15 minutes every no it was 15 minutes. Sorry, I'm getting confused. It was half an hour every 10 days. Now I do a half an hour every 5 days. So uh, so I was originally intending on like doing 6 or 7 hours a day by June, 7 or 8 hours by July. Sorry, no, 4 or 5 hours by June per day, and then 7 or 8 hours per day in July, and then by the end of August I'd be doing about 10 hours a day. Now I'm supposed to be doing 13 hours a day, which is because I recently increased it to increasing my workload by half an hour every 5 days. But I'm not getting near to that amount because it's just physically impossible for me without losing sleep or not having to not read the Bible. And I'm nearly finished the Bible, so I'm gonna see it through to the end because I just want to have it finished. Longest book I ever read. It's taken me about 5 months to read it, and I want to get it read already. So there was a big difference between myself in May and myself now in August. That's because of the cold calling. I've transformed into a different person. And it's not like, oh, express yourself, look at who you've become, look at how far you've come. No, it's just the truth. Like in May I was not able to talk much on the phone. I would get my ass kicked every other moment. I would try to talk to people. I would get dominated by pretty much everyone. I keep going again and again, just 10 calls a day, and then 2 weeks after that I increased it. So one day I just randomly did 30 calls, and it was my cousin's confirmation day, so I left the house then. But it was a very unpleasant experience, and I had a few reminders set on my phone after that. But yeah, it was just extremely unpleasant. Well, it wasn't that unpleasant, but it just wasn't pleasant either. So then the next few days I kept going, and I got my first website design client through cold calling. Or it was my second, no, it was my first. And I basically had a month time frame to get this site done, and I did it in about 15 days. And then I started cold calling again, doing about 30, 40 calls a day. And then I got my second one on the Thursday of the first week I was doing that. And so I ended up working again for the next week on the website. And then a week after that again I started cold calling. I I was supposed to do like 200, but I only got 50 a day done because I couldn't source my leads fast enough. And so in July I pretty much resolved to make sure I could afford the a particular course that I really wanted to buy, but I couldn't afford. So I resolved to making money with a website project. So I called about 50 businesses every single day, which wasn't much, but it was about as much as I could do because of the lead sourcing. Anyway, about halfway through July, I realized this isn't gonna really go anywhere, and then closer to the end of July, again, I got on a call with the representative from this of the Growth Solutions program, and I decided to get in. I informed them that I was thinking of changing my service because there's no demand for it, and looking into doing the traditional SMMA route, which will be picking a niche, offering a service that those niche needs, and then making a few cold calls a day to get some meetings and just do the old fashioned style. So I did that anyway, and I've continued doing Route 50 to 100. Maybe I don't really get to 100 because I I have to call people back because people practically never respond. And throughout this entire month, I've been calling people again and again and again, the same bloody people, but they won't pick up the phone. And I've been booking. First day I did, actually, I booked 4 meetings, which was amazing. I think it's because people just weren't that busy. And next day I booked 2 meetings, and then it was pretty steady ever since. Some days I'd only book 1 or 0 meetings, but then other days I booked 3 meetings, which was pretty good. So this week I've been booking not too many meetings because I can get nobody on the phone, man. There's like nobody, and it's but the difference between myself now and the difference then is the most important part of all of this. Now I am able to engage people on the phone, and it doesn't even feel that painful to do it, because at the end of June, I since myself beginning to be able to do this, I was able to talk with people, have an actual conversation with people, and I could just feel my former self, the one who wanted me to stop doing this, who wanted to sit on the couch and play video games. I could feel him just stabbing at me to survive, and just making sure he could grasp onto me so that he could still live. And it was so painful talking like that. I was like, yep, and we we would really be happy to take you on board. And I was talking confidently and all that, but I was it was like a raging fire inside my organs. It was that painful. Well, it wasn't that painful, but it was pretty painful, because it was like this dying beast inside you, just trying to take whatever it can. And now when I talk like that on the phone, it doesn't feel as like painful, because I've pretty much changed who I am completely. And because of that, I I genuinely believe I have went through about 80 or 90%, if not all, the whole way of the painful self changing process that comes with the business. But I could be wrong. I might not be 1% of the way through, but I feel like I've done most of the work. Because, and I'm not trying to sound cocky or put anyone down when I'm saying this, so don't take it like that at all, because I never want to do that. But some people, when I watch them closing these $12,000 worth clients, or $16,000 worth clients, or $18,000 worth dollar clients, or 6,000 or 2,000, I see them all on their calls, and they don't have that much charisma compared to what I would have. They stammer. They don't sound very confident in their product. They they even though it's an amazing product and they have an amazing offer, which usually carries them through the sale, but they're usually not that articulate. They're okay at handling objections, but they're not that great. Whereas I'm probably a bit better at that. It's just I haven't really spent much time learning service delivery, but I think my knowledge on Google Ads is pretty much apt, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm behind them or anything, because to be honest, I was watching someone today and I was like, really, I, I could easily do that like he had. He clearly hasn't suffered as much as I have, and I'm not saying that it's some kind of good thing that I suffered. Well, it kind of is a good thing, but it's not like I'm better than anyone else for suffering more than them. But it's just more like, isn't how successful you are related to how much suffering you've went through. And I've went through an unbelievable amount of suffering, so it only makes sense that I should pretty soon be encountering an unbelievable amount of success, and I fully believe that. So if any of you are you who are watching this video or in the future, and they're just seeing me here talking about something, just know that I knew I was going to be successful before I actually became successful. And I know it now because it's not about luck, it's about causality. It's about becoming the type of person who can become successful, become the type of person who can manage a business, who can deal with the stress, who can deal with people, who can accept pain. Most of all, it's all about pain tolerance and increasing that more and more as you gradually go through. And I've been enjoying this evening because I haven't had to cold call. It's just the days are so graceful when I don't have to do that crap. It's just so unfun, mainly when you're sleep deprived. But yeah, I got on Friday, just yesterday, the second guy I got to agree to come on board said that he wasn't doing the onboarding process tomorrow, which would have been today, because he wasn't convinced, verbatim by the way, wasn't convinced by my social by my online presence, and that absolutely gutted me yesterday. Truly did gut me. But anyway, I've since then sort of told him, okay, here are my platforms. I didn't want to bombard you with too much information, but if you do want to see them, have a look. And if you have any questions, again, I'd be happy to uh, inform you more about the service. And this morning he was like, okay, I'll talk with you later on in the week about this. I won't be able to do it now. And that just really relieved the heck out of me because this guy is a straight, dead on guy and he doesn't beat around the bush like most people in the industry or in business in general do. And that means that he actually is going to be looking to talk with me later on in the week, and he hasn't completely lost faith in the fact that I can deliver a service. And it's all even more relieving because the same day, Friday, tried I was about to do an onboarding call with the first guy I got to agree, and he didn't show up for the second day in a row. And yesterday he told me that he would show up today, and he didn't. So I tried calling him, and then the number didn't work. The call didn't connect, and I was just thinking, has this guy actually blocked me? No way. He really didn't seem like he wanted to block me or anything. He seemed fully on board, like he was about to take all the photos and send them over to me. But I don't know really what to think. I do hope that he hasn't blocked me. He'll try to get back in touch. Maybe he's just had a busy week. Only the Lord would know how busy people are in August. But yeah, I do hope that I start getting more lucrative results in the next few days. I've went to the UK sort of. I went over to the countries in Northern Ireland, which by the way is just Ireland. I don't know why we have to split our country up into two pieces when they're basically the same landmass. It's just basic logic anyway. It doesn't matter. Not pertinent to this video. But yeah, hopefully they'll be more receptive. People in Ireland, man, are just all busy. They're all really happy with their lives and they have no problems at all, it seems. But I know that that's just my paradigm. Anyway, if you want to chat, leave a comment.